And we've been meeting here every Wednesday night, starting at the end of May. May 29th was our first Wednesday, and one of my favorite nights of the week. Midweek opportunity to get back into ourselves, get back into that spirituality. If you're a Sunday service person or Sunday practice person, whatever that means to you, feel great on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, we start to go downhill by Wednesday. So this is the time to get back into what we know, not just knowing it, but experiencing it. So thanks for being here tonight. If you're new to the Way of Mastery, super big welcome to you. We come together in two ways simultaneously. One is Facebook Live. Every Wednesday night, Unity of Naples Church Facebook page. You can come and we'll be here, and for about 30 minutes, we study this book, The Way of Mastery. We're currently on the first book, which is The Way of the Heart. And then simultaneously, we are in a webinar room, a Zoom room, and there's, 27, 26 other people here with me tonight. And the cool thing about the Zoom room is that we're here for the hour. So we do the first half hour on Facebook Live, and the second half hour, we're in the Zoom room where we take the lesson deeper. We do some practices, we make it experiential. People get to share their insights, ask questions, and receive prayer. So if you're interested in finding out about the Zoom room, please make sure that you, if you could leave the link for the web, for the email list, Ryan, that would be awesome. Make sure you get on our list on our email list, and we'll make sure you have the information on how you can join us in this room, because this is where we want you to be. I'm going to check a few things before we do our practice. All right, awesome, cool. Let's begin like we always do with just centering ourselves, focusing on our breath. I invite you, if you're comfortable, if you're alone, or if you're in a space where you can close your eyes, join me in doing that. Sit up tall, lengthen that spine. Don't make it rigid, but see if you can just get a little more space between the vertebrae for some breath. Turn your hands up, palms up on your thighs if that's comfortable for you. Roll your shoulders back a bit and lift your chin up slightly so your chest and your throat are open, nice open. So your whole body's kind of open for the breath. And begin breathing in through your nose, filling up deeply, filling up the belly, the lungs, feeling the whole body expand, and hold the breath when you feel it at its full capacity. Hold it. And exhale through the mouth. And as you exhale, blow it out. Feel the muscles relax, and maybe the spine can lengthen a little more. As you begin another slow inhale through the nose, again, filling the belly, filling the lungs, expanding the whole body, holding the breath at the top. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Exhale. And a third time, breathing in through the nose, expanding the body. A third time, filling it all the way up, stretching it a little bit more, holding the breath. Hold the breath. And exhale. And allow the breathing to go to its natural rhythm. As you bring your attention up to the third eye, the space between the eyebrows, the center of the forehead, lift your attention upward a little bit. And as you breathe in, imagine the breath coming through the forehead, through the third eye, opening up. That is the portal to intuition. That is the portal to wisdom. So breathe in and imagine right here in the center of the forehead, right between the eyebrows, just opening. You can even use your middle finger to tap there for a minute. Real lightly, it should cause a tickle. And that can open, open, open. Let the body relax a little more, continuing to breathe in through the third eye. Release any thoughts. Just be here now. There's an opportunity this evening for healing. But healing simply means a remembering of the presence of the divine that you are, the oneness with the light. And when you remember and you allow that light, it restores the body temple, it relaxes the emotions and releases you from fearful thoughts and false ideas about yourself. That's what a healing is. A healing is a release from something that was once holding you in bondage, and a restoration and a remembering of who you are and what you are, which is one with the divine presence, the Christ light. So that's what I welcome this evening for myself and for each of us here. We're not playing small. We're not playing little league here. We're playing in the pros. We're playing in the real game of mastery, the way of mastery. And we're willing to take full responsibility for our thoughts, for our reality. We're willing to grow. We're willing to grapple with concepts and principles that challenge us. We're willing to lay down our grievances. We're willing to stop being right so that we can be free. And this is what I accept for us tonight as I speak this blessing upon us, knowing that the Christ light, the Holy Spirit, the divine presence is large and in charge. Grateful for this. We let it be, and so it is. Amen. All right. Thank you for doing that. So I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to introduce you to the Way of Mastery again, especially if you're new here. What is the Way of Mastery? The Way of Mastery is a pathway of forgiveness, of self-love, and the acceptance of the perfection of each moment. It's designed to return your mind to holiness, to wholeness. This is a midweek virtual gathering, and it gives you tools to help you trust in the voice of God, which is in you always and always speaking to you, and will ultimately benefit us all as we bring love and light to the world and awaken through the atonement. The atonement simply means the undoing of fear. So these teachings will give you mastery over your entire lifetime. Good deal. Well worth it. All right. This is the opening of the book. It's written, it's called the I Promise You This. And it is a wonderful promise. And it's not written in first person, but I rewrote it in first person so that you could read it with me. So it's a declaration. And it's typically, most often, the way that we begin our Wednesday nights together. So I invite you to look at these words, to breathe these words in. And if you can, say them out loud with me. I am wholly committed to awakening from the dream I have dreamt since the stars first began to appear in the heavens. My one desire is to be only what God created. Right now, I lay at the altar of my heart with every breath, everything I think I know, everything I think I need. And I look lovingly upon every place that fear has made a home in my mind, and I allow correction to come. It will come. Regardless of how I experience it, it will come. And the day and the moment will arise, and all of my pain and fear and suffering will have vanished like a wind that pushes the foam of the wave away, revealing the clarity of the ocean beneath me. I will literally feel throughout my being that there never was a dream. Some memories might remain with me, and I will know that somewhere I must have dreamt a dream or had a thought of wondering what it would be like to be other than the way God created me. But it will be a faint echo that will leave no trace upon me. In my heart, I will smile gently, regardless of the circumstances in which I find myself. There will be peace from the crown of my head to the tips of my toes, and that peace will walk before me wherever I go. It will enter a room before I enter it with a body, and those who are becoming sensitive will wonder who has come into their place. And some will even say, behold, I believe Christ has come for dinner, and I will be that one, for that is who I am. Christ eternal. Take a breath. Exhale. And so we pause here to really accept the words at the end of this reading, which is, I am Christ eternal. I am Christ eternal. That is something that is true and forever true. But as long as the mind has us believing that we're other than that, then we suffer and we're in pain. Mastery begins with the acceptance of the Christ light that we are. So let's begin there tonight, right there. I am the Christ light. I accept this. That's all I am. That's all I ever will be. Christ is not specific to just Jesus. Christ is just a word that represents anointing. It represents oneness with God. It represents the mind that is whole and perfect and complete. That's what the Christ mind is, and that's what you are. What great news is that? It's amazing news, because that means that you, my friend, don't have a problem. You think you have some problems. You think things are happening. We're going to address those. But the truth of the matter is, you are the light of Christ, and that's all you ever will be. All right. So thanks for going over that with me. I always appreciate that. Now we're going to dive into the book, and we're going to begin reading. I have the small book. Some of you have the large book, and it's hard to keep up with where I am. I appreciate that. But hopefully you could purchase the small book, because it's just easier to hold and to read along with. I am beginning in the middle of page 37. Actually, I'll start at the bottom of 36. You seek innocence and peace, the very last sentence on page 36. If you have your book, read along with me, highlight, circle, put question marks. This is your book. Really get into it. If you don't have the book, just listen, close your eyes, follow along, breathe in these words of wisdom, or maybe in your journal, jot down things that inspire you. And so we begin. You seek innocence and peace. You seek abundance, prosperity, and joy. But often, when you touch these things, it frightens you. Why? Because the truth of the kingdom requires openness, trust, expansiveness, and spaciousness. It involves allowing, trusting, witnessing, and letting things come and go. It involves learning to cultivate a deep enjoyment of whatever arises, seeing that all things are just modifications of consciousness itself, and then letting them go when it's time to do so. So it begins by speaking about freedom. Things are going to come, they're going to go in this certain dimension of being. Everything rises up and everything disappears. Rest assured, there is no one, not a single soul, who has ever discovered something that was birthed in time that did not also end in time. So take a moment and think about, what are the things you don't want to end? What are the things you obsess about changing or getting upset when it starts to disappear? That is not correct, because just as it says, every single one of us faces the reality and the truth that whatever comes here in this world of form will disappear. Of course, we know that about our bodies, because they're changing, and we've seen so many people come and go. That's the reality. We tend to cling more to things of this world. Many of us belong to Unity of Naples. We're in a time of change right now. It's a 50-year-old organization, and it's rebirthing itself. And some of the older ways aren't serving, and they're not moving us forward into the 21st century. Within Unity of Naples, this divine idea in God, there is a rebirthing that's wanting to happen, a newness, a vibrancy that can bring new people into our teaching and our way of being. For some people, that's upsetting and that's scary, because they want to count on things not changing. I understand that. I don't judge that, but that is not spiritual practice. That is fear. That is fear in action. And when fear has us, then we start operating from that and speaking from that and trying to control from that. Then we're infecting everybody else. The way of spirit, the way of mastery, is to recognize that everything's going to come and everything's going to go. And our job is to enjoy the flow. So if there's an area in your life where you're feeling yourself clinging, holding on, afraid to let go, take a breath. Exhale. I let this go. I let it change and evolve, dissolve whatever it's meant to do. I just let it go. This is our practice, and this is the way to mastery. All right, reading on. How much of your suffering comes because you are clinging to a lifeless past and insisting that you can carry it with you still? You are doing that because in the past, you became identified with the clouds that were passing by and claimed that as your own identity. Therefore, if you release it, it will mean that you must change. You must go on. Creation itself that flows from the mind of God is ongoing forever. You will never cease to be. You will go on forever and forever and forever and forever and forever. I love that sentence. You will go on forever exactly as you are now. Or you can allow the mind of God to flow through you, carrying you to an ever greater expansiveness and deepening your awareness of the infinite loveliness of the power of the mind of God. So again, I want to go back. Creation itself that flows to the mind of God is ongoing forever. You will never cease to be. I want to stop there. That was in our email that I sent out to the email list. If you're not on it, get on the email list so you can get the inspiration and you can get the information. Today, our message, a short message in our email was addressing the idea you will never cease to be. And the reason I want to stop there is because what I want to ask you, what freedom would you have if you really understood you will never cease to be? You will be forever and forever and forever. And this, you're going to move through relationships, everything like we're talking about, things are going to come and go. Your body's going to come and go. You're going to lay down your body at a certain point, but you are the constant. You are the constant. And what would be possible for you if you stop clinging to people, places, and things, desperately wanting them not to change? What if you let them go and realize, oh, I am the changeless presence. I will never cease being. I will always be here. I will always be growing in the love of God. I will always be expanding. Our human mind, even as I'm saying it, our human mind can't conceive of this. So we don't need to understand that, but just check it out. Is there some peace that comes with knowing tonight that you are the changeless one? You are the one that will not remain the same, but you will always be you in an ever expanding thing. You will never disappear. You will never dissolve. All things of this world will, but you won't. And hopefully you can really find profound courage in that. And here's what also makes that interesting and important. To me, it's an invitation to stop putting off until tomorrow what you must face within yourself, whatever fears you have of living your truth, whatever confusion you have about life, or if there's some kind of just something inside of you that you're not bringing forward to consider, I'm an eternal being and this must come forward. And do I want to spend more and more time in the angst of hiding it or ignoring it or suppressing it? Or do I just want to get on with being me and just take the lid off and let myself express, let myself shine my light? See, to me, knowing that I will never cease to be means just be you now. Expand now, because it has to be done. And now's the best time ever. Now is the best time ever to just be and shine that light. Let me read on a little bit. So, mastery arises from innocence. Let's read on. This is really good. In these lessons, we will create a system or a pathway upon which you can walk to deliberately cultivate the quality of awareness and consciousness necessary to stabilize that awareness so that you can bring it to each and every moment of your experience. Listen, imagine then being able to experience whatever arises without losing the sense of spaciousness, innocence, and ease that you now experience in fleeting moments. Imagine whatever comes your way, you just feel spacious, you feel open, you don't get triggered. That, that is hallelujah. That's what I want. I've been getting triggered these last couple weeks. I've been just getting triggered by this and by that, and just really having to take some deep breaths. And what do I do when that happens? It feels important to share. When I get triggered, I acknowledge it, I take deeper breaths, and I go to my prayer partners. I talk to people who know me and love me and can pray me up into remembering. That's why spiritual community is so profoundly important. That's why prayer is so profoundly important to me, and it's profoundly important in unity. Prayer is the founding spiritual practice of unity. Prayer is the thing, and prayer is the thing in my life. So whenever I'm feeling triggered, I used to hide it or grumble or try to get through it or try to figure it out, all this waste of time and energy. Or I could go, wow, I'm really triggered right now. I'd like to be spacious in the center of it. How do I do that? Breathe in, reach out. And to someone, I'm very blessed to have so many prayer partners. And sometimes I'll call someone, they don't answer. I call the next person. They don't answer. I call the next person. I'll call until someone answers the phone. And I'll say, I need some prayer. It's such a beautiful way to be in the world. And it gives us, it's a tool. It's a tool to have the spaciousness that this book is talking about. Because that is definitely my goal. My goal is whoever comes my way, whatever they're doing, saying, however they're acting out or acting a fool, to love them and know that that's the best they can do right now. But it's about them, and it's not about me. Whatever, even if they're talking about me, whatever they're saying about me, it's 100% about them. It's about their unowned parts. That's true about us. We do the same thing. This spaciousness that we're talking about here, that's what allows us to begin looking at it, not running from it, and it begins to transform. So again, imagine being able to experience whatever arises without losing the sense of spaciousness, innocence, and ease that you now experience in fleeting moments. For instance, know you the experience when things are going well, you are singing a happy tune, and life seems to be moving ahead. I read that wrong. For instance, I did read that right. Know you the experience when things are going well, you are singing a happy tune, and life seems to be moving ahead. Imagine that same quality of trust, faith, and certainty of purpose, even when the buildings are crumbling around you and the bank account has gone dry. Imagine being able to look at those events with the same sense of innocence and wonder with which you would look into the eyes of your beloved. People would be calling you crazy. And when people are calling you crazy, you are awakening spiritually. That's the great news. Put that on your mirror. Put that on a 3x5 card. When people think I'm crazy, the good news is I'm simply awakening. That's all that's happening. You're no longer affected. Like the buildings are crumbling, whatever. Buildings have crumbled for centuries. They're going to continue crumbling. I'm not. I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to rebirth and renew. That's it. That's it. Byron Katie. I haven't talked about her in a while. She's an awakened being. Many of you probably know Byron Katie. I've studied with her, read her books, I've hung out with her, and she's truly awakened. I mean, truly Eckhart Tolle, Jesus Christ, awakened. Has no past, has no future, fully present. And I remember being at a lecture with her where she talked about this. And it was something like, if you lose your home and you're just sitting on the curb across the street looking at it, it's like, and here I am now. And what's next for me? What's next for me? That used to be my home. Now it's not. And then she said, and imagine the home catching on fire and then just burning down to the ground. And then it's not even there. The innocence of a child is like, wow, look at that. Look at the amazing, what was just standing in front of me an hour ago was a house. Then this thing called fire came in and it disappeared and it's gone. If you're not attaching and identifying yourself falsely with all of that, it's just amazing. You're just in wonder. And again, people will think you're crazy. And the good news is you're awakening. So, a few more lines. For such a quality of awareness is perfect mastery. Within it are discovered perfect peace, perfect freedom, perfect joy, and uninterrupted communion with all of creation. And if you would well receive it, that quality of feeling intimately one with all of creation is what you've been seeking as a soul since first the identification with the creation called ego began. I didn't read that right, but you got it. For that creation created conflict and separation. Everything you have ever attempted to do since has been an attempt to overcome separation and to gain back what you felt you had lost. It is just that the ways you have sought to do it don't work. The world of conflict, fear, guilt, and unworthiness, and the world of the kingdom lie side by side within your own mind. The eye of the needle that one must pass through is the recultivation of the innocence of a child. It is for this reason that I often taught, become again as a little child to enter the kingdom. We're going to stop there. So this is the invitation for the week. If you're on Facebook Live and we're about to end on that platform, the invitation is to cultivate the innocence of a child within you, to remember that you are an eternal being, you are the light of Christ, and that will never end. That will never change. Everything in this dimension is changing. Everything. The relationships, the buildings, the people, the places, the things, they're coming and they're going. And if you can watch all of it with spaciousness and enjoy the passing of time and energy and what comes to you and what leaves, if you can be in the innocence of a child, what's here? What's going? What's coming? To be that beautiful detached self that is just observing and enjoying, that's mastery. And it takes some effort and some work. So notice where you're triggered this week. Notice who's getting you so hard that you just shut down. Breathe into that. Take your deep breaths. Do you have someone you could call and ask for prayer? Is there someone in your life that you could do that with? I want that for you. I want you to have the active prayer life that I have. I want you to have 10, 15, 20 people that you can call for prayer when you need prayer. That's what I have. And I'm so blessed to have that. And it makes all the difference in the world. So I'm just going to mention this because it's on my mind. It's a ways off, but in January, I'll be teaching prayer class again. It's one of my most favorite things in the world. And we had a wonderful turnout. So if you haven't done prayer class yet, it's coming. It's coming for you. And I will beg you to do it. We're going to do two forms. We're going to do online and we're going to do live so that everyone can be in the prayer game. So that brings our time together to a close on Facebook Live. Please, if you were moved, if this inspired you, you'll see a donate button right there on Facebook Live. Please take a moment and make an offering to us. We'd really, really appreciate that. It all goes to Unity of Naples. And U of Naples is a wonderful spiritual community in southwest Florida that has got a really bright, beautiful light. And many of us are a part of that. So your contributions go to them so that their mission can be fulfilled. Thanks for coming tonight. Peace and love to you all. And that ends Facebook Live. Thank you, Ryan. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the Zoom room. I love the Zoom room. This is the time where we all get to, let me turn that on. We all get to share our thoughts, what came up for you in this. I always like to begin there. Like, I want to get connected with you. What did you hear? What did you like? What pissed you off? I don't care what it is. Just sort of bring your voice into the game so that I can know how you were tracking and what was happening for you. So let me see. I got some writing here. Kateri has an interesting observation. Well, let me see. Initially, to me, literally, it seems I have more time to fix stuff, but maybe even better, stuff doesn't need to be fixed. I really realize I cannot fix anything. I can only love. Love either does or doesn't fix stuff. The fix is in the receiver. Are you ready to allow me to love you? Unconditionally love you. That is my take on this. Some folks cannot allow others to love them. Girl, you channeling the spirit tonight. Good job. Thank you for sharing that. You know, this week I was on a phone call. I was doing a session. I do spiritual counseling sessions. And I was working with someone on the other side of the country. And her beloved husband for 30 years passed away about 3 months ago. And this particular relationship was a true soulmate, friendship, love affair. I have a beautiful relationship. I love my husband and I love my marriage. And this marriage was magical that they have. I'm like, I want that magic. More of that, please. More of that, please. Just so beautiful. And her husband died. And she's in pain. She's in grief, as we can all appreciate. And she was in this question, very spiritual person, very deeply, deeply spiritual, but was really grappling with, why did he go? What is this about? He was saying his affirmations. He was saying the prayer. Myrtle Fillmore said, I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit disease. And she got to live. She got to be healed from tuberculosis. So many people speak the prayer, boom, they're healed from their disease. Jesus is walking through, he says, pick up your mat and walk. Boom, that person is healed. Why couldn't my husband be healed? This is what she was grappling with, because he's a wonderful man and he did everything right in the spiritual, in terms of the spiritual practice to be healed. It was tough. I totally get it. And we talked about principle, because the truth of the matter is we learn these things and we work with our minds so that things will change in the world. And many times the disease will disappear and the bank account will fill up and the lover will come. These are the things we want. But then there are also people that, for things unknown or we only understand a little, there are certain foundational agreements that are non-negotiable. Like, I believe, this is my belief, you don't need to believe this, the time that you are going to die. You got it. I just like the idea about it. Before your spirit gets here, you established certain things about it that were non-negotiable so you could have a foundation upon which your spirit could trust. And one of them might be, this is when I'm going to exit. This is when I'm complete. I don't know. I just like the idea that there's something established, but there's nothing wrong with it, because again, you don't die. You don't. This man laying down his body, all he did was expand into the gigantic being that he is. And he realized, oh my God, I thought it was my body, that my body's like a little dot in the center of the mind of being that I am. My body is so tiny. And I thought I was that. It's insane to the spirit that is set free. In fact, I've heard many stories of people who have near-death experiences and then come back into the body that they don't want to. They don't want to focus their attention back into that achy, old, painful body. They're like, no, I don't want that. It's not comfortable. So what is my point after that long-winded story? My point is, the changing that we experience can be painful. It can cause great grief. But when we really anchor ourselves in practice, we do remember everyone comes and goes. And everything is going to change. And we will grow stronger spiritually through it. We can. So do you find yourself getting stuck and not being able to keep the spaciousness and the curiosity and the innocence?
Well, Mark, you and I have worked on the idea of relationship, and I getting to a certain point, and then everything comes crashing down, and I don't know if it's me or somebody else, but I'm feeling like I'm lacking some trust and faith and maybe just meeting the wrong people. But uh, I'm not. Um, the doubt creeps in right away, and I've stopped, and I'm in between everything right now. I'm doing my work stuff. I'm just thinking, I want to create a space for that love and joy and in relationship to move in. How come I keep doubting and kind of squeezing it shut?
Yeah, yeah. And so answer that. So just keep going. I keep doubting and squeezing that shut
because somehow I'm feeling like I'm not worthy, like it doesn't work, like I get hurt, and like I almost want to give up trying.
great. Do any of those things that you just listed, which are awesome. Thank you for listing this so clearly. All of those, any of those feel spacious or innocent?
Not in the least.
In the least. So the very thing, so this is such a good example. The very thing that you desire and want with your heart, what's behind it and around it causes contraction, 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 and closing down, which and in order for newness and change in life, as this speaks about, it's about being open and innocent and spacious.
Yes.
So I'm not making it wrong, but I just like you described exactly why it is challenging for it to
Yes.
happen. This is relationship for you, for the next person it's money, for the next person it's a dream, for the next person it's physical health. You know what I mean? So wherever you are, people who are here and listening to this, and thank you, Maureen, for playing with she feels contracted and closed down and not spacious. Think about an area in your life where you're feeling that same way, not spacious. Think about that and let yourself physically become it, like fingers tight, close yourself down, like exaggerate in the body what that thought and what that experience is like. Even contract your head down, pull your fingers together, squeeze yourself in like a raisin, real tight. Let yourself physically, let your body represent the contraction of this thought. Feel how closed down it is, exaggerated. Close down tighter, close down tighter. Really pull it in. Now, breathe the breath of God. Slowly open. Breathe in. A little expansion. Exhale. Don't open all the way up. A next breath. Breathe in. Deep breath. Open a little more. Exhale. Relax. And a third breath. Breathe in. Expand even further, exhale. And a fourth time, really breathe and reach your arms way out open. Open. This is big and spacious, so wide that you're reaching and your head is up. Breathe in. Feel the spaciousness of your body right now. Feel that. And feel the good of it and the ease of it, and let your arms relax. You don't need to let them hurt if it's feeling odd to open. So that, as cheesy as that may have been, that is an exact example, a physical example of exactly what we're talking about. The body exaggerate, contract, that's what the thoughts are. These thoughts of suffering, of contraction, of all that stuff, they literally close it down. And then there's no room for breath. So it is the breath of spirit is the reopening, the expansion. Hopefully that felt good. It felt amazing to me. Felt good to do that. Any thoughts about that, or anything for all of us? Every prayer is for all of us. Is it Patricia or Pat? Patty, what is your?
No, Pat is fine.
Pat. All right, wonderful. All right, I'm going to mute you there and take a breath. And everyone join me, because every prayer spoken here can be yours. So open your heart up, open your mind up, open your hands up to receive this prayer. As I place my attention upon God as that perfect life, God is perfect source and substance. Everywhere God is, there's no place where God is not. We cannot look to the world to prove us. We look within ourselves to know God's source and substance is always here, never failing, always renewing itself, always renewing itself. And as every relationship comes and goes, rises into form and leaves in form, the spirit remains, the love remains expanding. So I know for Pat that the love with her husband becoming her ex-husband is the truth, and that they are forever one in God, and that their souls are not hurt, harmed, or injured. No story keeps them from being deeply in the connection of love. And the form of their relationship is changing. It is time to change. How do we know? Because it's happening. And so I know that where Pat is, God's love is, God's source is, God's substance is, God's power and presence is. And every single moment, now and the next now and the next now, God is her source. God is her source. And I claim for Pat such a deep knowing, such a surrender, release of all fear. All fear dissolves in this moment. There is no fear greater than the source and the substance of God in Pat's life. And so the way will always be made clear, even if it's just the next step or the next step. There will always be solution. There will always be support. And I claim for Pat the ability to breathe so deeply and to expand in this faith so wide that she just is like, I can't wait to see where God's going to take me next. I can't wait to see how God is going to show up in my life as supply, as resource, as whatever it is. I know that it's going to happen. And I'm just like the innocence of a child waiting and wondering. I'm going to just sit here and play and be curious and enjoy. Oh God, let Pat be in her own joy, because that joy will always draw unto herself the most amazing opportunities. This is the beginning of a new chapter. And it is, I dare say, can be and shall be, according to this prayer, her best chapter yet. Freedom. So much freedom, so much joy to be herself, to say what she wants, to do what she wants, to dance when she wants, to rest when she wants. God's got her. God has got her absolutely. God's grace is a blanket of love all around her. And there is a path before her that is paved by God. And she's on it. She's on it. I breathe in. I'm grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer. I truly am. And I release it now into the action of the law. This prayer is fulfilled. This prayer is done. And so it is. Amen. Amen.